The LA Kings used a strong opening period to get a win and gain ground on the Oilers. Details on that and more on this edition of Locked On LA Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Kings fans, welcome to Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On LA Kings your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. I'm Eddie Garcia, your host of Locked On LA Kings. I've worked in sports media for the past 30 years, also co-host of the Puck Podcast, a weekly NHL review show that's been putting out content for the past 18 years, and a passionate LA Kings fan for over 30 years. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. The LA Kings played game 67 of the NHL regular season in Chicago against the lowly Blackhawks. LA coming off a 3-1 loss in Minnesota on Monday to open up this mini two-game road trip. The Kings came into their game against Chicago with a record of 36-21-9, but just 13-18-5 on the road this season. And while Chicago is not a good team, matter of fact, they were on the verge of being eliminated from the playoffs, they have been good against the Kings. 2-0 record head-to-head against LA this season, looking for the sweep of the series, and again, to avoid being eliminated from the playoffs with a loss for LA. They were looking for 2 points and hopefully looking to move a little closer to second place in the Pacific Division in the battle for home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Checking the lineup for the Kings. It is a very familiar one. 7th game in a row, the Kings have gone with the same forward group and the same defensive pairings. Andrei Kopitar centering Adrian Kempe and Andrei Kuzmenko. Philip Deneau centering Warren Fogle and Trevor Moore. Quentin Byfield centering Alex Laferriere and Kevin Fiala. Samuel Hellenius centering Tanner Jeannot and Alex Turcotte. The healthy scratches at the forward position for the Kings were Akil Thomas and Trevor Lewis. On defense, Mikey Anderson was paired with Drew Doughty, Vladislav Gavrikov with Brant Clark, Joel Edmondson with Jordan Spence, while Jacob Moverara and Kyle Burrows were the healthy scratches among the blue liners. Darcy Kemper would get the start in net with David Riddick serving as the backup. So the big question for me in this one, would the Kings get exactly what they need at this point of the season? 2 points and a solid 3 periods of hockey being played. As for the scoring summary in this one, the Kings got exactly the start they were looking for, jumped out to a 2-0 lead on goals from Trevor Moore and Alex Turcotte. Second period, the Kings gave up a power play goal to cut the lead in half, but was able to cap off the win with an empty net goal from defenseman Joel Edmondson. Final score, Kings 3, Blackhawks 1. LA improves to 37-21-9 on the season. Now 14-18-5 on the road. The Kings split their mini two-game road trip and gain ground on the Oilers in the Pacific Division standings. We'll give you the details on that coming up in just a little bit. As for the game stats in this one, again, Kings win it by a score of 3-1. Shots on goal heavily favoring LA, which was part of the theme of the night for the Kings. 33 shots on goal to Chicago's 18. As for the power plays, LA officially 0 for 2, but one of those power plays was about 20 seconds long. So more realistically, they were 0 for 1, while Chicago went 1 for 4, their lone goal coming on the power play. The Kings, though, with a huge penalty kill in the third period, with the Hawks looking to try and tie things up late in this one. Faceoffs favored Chicago 23-21. Hits favored the Blackhawks 22-19. Block shots favored the Kings 10-8. But of course, the important stat is the scoreboard, and that's where the Kings get the 3-1 win. What was good for the LA Kings from a team standpoint? Well, again, the start was phenomenal. Exactly what the Kings are looking for. You talk about having a shot mentality. They had almost 20 shots in the opening period. They ended up outshooting Chicago 19-7. And it wasn't just about the shots on goal. The Kings were in control of this game offensively and defensively. Again, it was exactly what you're looking for in a period, especially to start a game. It gives you such a better opportunity if you can start well. And the Kings certainly have been a team that when they do start well, when they get that first goal, usually ends up turning out pretty good for them. I thought that it was not just that they were putting shots on goal from everywhere, although they were, but it was also setting up teammates to get good shots on goal. And You would have to say that as far as the Kings goals scored in this one, they did get secondary scoring, which is always important. You didn't see goals from Adrian Kempe or Kevin Fiala or Quentin Byfield. You got Trevor Moore, Alex Turcotte, and Joel Edmondson. So getting goals from somewhat unexpected sources and getting a win is good for the LA Kings. What was not so good for the Kings from a team standpoint? Well, I guess not really coming close to replicating what they did in the first period. But to be honest, that was going to be really difficult to do because that's how good they were in that first period. They set the bar pretty high and they were unable to reach that bar again. But the second and third periods certainly weren't bad for the Kings. I would say the second and third periods were more even between the Blackhawks and the Kings. But that first period really was the difference in this game, in the Kings getting the win. And head coach Jim Hiller, as we go to our coach's quote, chimed in on that fact. He said, quote, "First period was good. If you actually go back to the first period in here last time we played, we had way more quality chances, and that period we came up with 0. That's the way hockey is at times. So it's nice to see a couple go in. I think that was really important. If we come out there without anything after playing the way we did, it would have been hard for us. It was just good to see the puck go in," end quote. So my big takeaway from this game, at this point of the season, you want 2 things: 2 points and a solid 3 periods of hockey. I thought the Kings did that in this game. I don't care if it's against a bad team. We've seen the Kings play down to the level of their competition before. As I mentioned, coming into this game, they were 0 for 2 against Chicago. We've seen them lose to the Sharks before earlier in the year, the worst team right now in the league. So again, I don't really care about the records at this point. Yes, you can look at an opponent and say that's a winnable game and that's going to be a tough game. But like I said, we've seen the Kings beat some of the best teams in the league. They're 2-0 against Winnipeg. They beat Washington in a shutout win not long ago. They can beat some of the best teams, but on occasion, the Kings can also lose against some of the worst teams. So again, 2 points, check. Play 3 solid periods of hockey, check. Yes, the second and third period, not as good as the first, but the first was excellent. So again, mission accomplished in this win. Now you've gone through this mini little 2-game road trip. Now it's time to get back home where there are going to be some big games and some big opponents coming up. But this was an important 2 points. Our stat of the night, which we've never had before, but I saw this stat and thought it was good. I wanted to share it. So if we get some stats, we'll keep this going that are interesting. But the LA Kings this season have allowed 1 or fewer goals 25 times. That is the most in the NHL. Again, the Kings have allowed 1 or fewer goals 25 times. The 25th time was against Chicago, the most in the NHL. Needless to say, Kings are pretty good defensively, not bad in net as well. All right, coming up next, we will get into some of the individual performances in the win over the Chicago Blackhawks. That's next here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day.
Did you know getting a good night's sleep is the #1 recipe for long-term success in life? I didn't. It took me way longer to realize than I'd like to admit. It was years of tossing and turning. I was always tired. I never felt like I could live up to my potential, but not anymore. Thanks to Bear Mattress. I used their sleep quiz and I matched with the Elite Hybrid. It's perfect for side sleepers like me. Now I wake up energized. I'm getting deeper sleeps and I'm ready to attack the day. No matter how you sleep, Bear Mattress has a match for you with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout for 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
Look at my guy Ross from Locked On Senators getting a commercial. I'm guessing I'm not getting one of those anytime soon. Let's talk about some of the individual performances in the win for the Kings over the Blackhawks. And we start, of course, with the goaltender, Darcy Kemper. Another solid game for Kemper. Didn't have to make a ton of saves in this one, 17 saves, but he did make some big saves when it mattered most. Huge save early in the third period on a quality chance of the Blackhawks with a chance to tie things up. I will say the goal that he allowed, it was a power play goal. I did think that he dropped down prematurely in that situation. I didn't think he needed to drop down on his pads in that situation. I thought he just would have held his ground. He would have been in better shape. But once he dropped down, it made him susceptible to allowing a goal on a cross-ice pass, which is exactly what happened. Once he dropped down, just took that extra split second to move from his left to his right to try and cover the post, and that was enough for Chicago to get the power play goal. So I didn't think he played that one as well as we've seen him play some other shots this season. He also had a bad clearing attempt that led to a turnover, and Alex Turcotte ended up having to take a penalty as a result. But still much more good than bad from Darcy Kemper as he gets another victory, improving to 23-9-7 overall. Now 9-8-5 on the road. He's 9-3-1 in his last 13 starts. We talked about it. You need your goaltender getting into playoff mode. Certainly appears like he is doing that. And right now, Darcy Kemper should be in the conversation as a Vezina Trophy finalist for the league's top goalie at the end of the season. Don't think he'll be in contention to win it. Looks like Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg is going to run away with it, but it is still would be an amazing honor for Darcy Kemper to be one of the other two finalists along with Connor Hellebuck. He is certainly right there in the discussion. Another solid game for Darcy Kemper. Trevor Moore scored the Kings' first goal, his 14th of the season. It was unassisted. He carried the puck into the zone. He kind of slowed down, looked like he was looking for his options, maybe to pass it off to a teammate. When he saw that wasn't there, he decided, okay, let's put it on net and see what happens. And he fired a shot off the post and in. Beautiful shot. He almost scored a second goal in the third period, just a hustle play to win a race for a puck that went down the ice. He won the race, was really traveling at a high rate of speed, didn't have a lot of time to kind of get the puck down and maneuver, was able to get a decent shot on goal, but the goaltender did make a save. But I think Moore's mojo is definitely back. He just looks different over the last couple of months, way more confident than he was at the beginning of the season, not showing the frustration that he showed a lot of times during the early part of the season. And it's just the way, it's not just the goals, that's certainly part of it, but just the way he's skating with the puck, making those hard cuts, those spin moves, being elusive, getting down behind the net, protecting the puck, getting a cycle going. Trevor Moore, I think, is looking really, really good. He and Warren Fogle flying around on that Deneau line, looking very good right now. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing of late from Trevor Moore. We talked about it at the midway point of the season. Trevor Moore, Kevin Fiala, Quentin Byfield. We had to have more out of those guys in the second half of the season and into the playoffs, and all three of those guys have delivered, including Trevor Moore. 6 goals in his first 40 games for Trevor Moore this season. He's got 8 goals in his last 18, and good to see him just looking back to his kind of normal self. Alex Turcotte scored the Kings' second goal, his 8th of the season, and we talked about how great the Kings were in this one as far as a shot mentality. Probably my favorite sequence of the game was when Vladislav Gavrikov had a point shot, put it on net, the save was made. It goes right back out to the point to Jordan Spence. He puts a shot on goal, the save is made, and then it goes right back out to Gavrikov again, and his shot towards the net was deflected in by Alex Turcotte. So again, great shot mentality from the Kings, especially in that first period, and it resulted obviously in that goal from Alex Turcotte. And how about our guest this week, Connor Doyle from the Hockey News, giving us this stat on Alex Turcotte. All of his goals this season have come on the road, and it happened once again, this time in Chicago. 8 goals for Alex Turcotte, 8 goals away from home. That's pretty interesting. We got to get him one at home here soon, hopefully. Now, he did take a goalie interference penalty in the game against Chicago, took the puck hard to the net, and then he kind of stopped a little too late, made contact with the goalie, got called for it. And I think there are penalties that you can live with. And to me, that's one of those penalties I can live with. I hope that Jim Hiller and the coaching staff do not tell Alex Turcotte, hey, don't take it hard to the net or be more careful. I mean, look, if that's the price that we're going to pay for a guy being aggressive and taking it to the net, so be it. I mean, yes, maybe in a crucial situation, tie game in the third period, maybe you got to be a little more careful than that. But I always like my guys going hard to the net. If they make contact with the goalie, so be it. Now I'm not sure where Alex Turcotte's going to end up playing. And I'm not talking about the rest of this season. I mean, down the road. He's not a fourth line player. But I give him credit for embracing that role. And I think deep down, he's got to be so happy just to be getting to play full time in the NHL, coming back from injury issues. And, there was some wonder where he was ever going to get an opportunity, but he's done a great job playing on that fourth line. He's injected some energy with, some physical players. And how about that fourth line lately? And in the game against Chicago, I thought they were very good as well. I know people will say, well, look, see what happens when you take Trevor Lewis out of the lineup. But Samuel Helenius, I think, is making plays as well. He did a great job in the faceoff circle, which we'll talk more a little bit later. And he's got some decent skill. I mean, he's a big, strong guy, but Samuel Helenius can't handle the puck, and he makes some pretty good passes. Don't know about his shot necessarily, but then again, that's not exactly what he's on the ice for. He is out there to be a physical presence. He is out there to make things happen. Pair him up with veteran Tanner Jeannot, and you got Alex Turcotte. The fourth line, I think, looks really, really good at this point. We talk about Adrian Kempe and Kevin Fiala. They were held without a point in this one. How many shots on goal? I've said I'd love to see them both combined for 8 shots on goal. Well, they got 5 in this one. Not bad. Fiala had 2. Kempe had 3. Fiala did have 1 bad turnover. But for the most part, I thought Kevin Fiala played a solid game. I love when he's handling the puck, making the defense, drawing the attention of the defense, and getting things set up offensively in the zone. I thought Kempe was really engaged defensively in this game, which he always is for the most part, but it was pretty noticeable. He did draw a penalty after a nice defensive play and a steal of the puck in the third period as he was breaking in on the net. And if you get a win without either Kevin Fiala or Adrian Kempe getting a point, you'll take that, right? It's not going to happen that often. You need those guys to contribute, but when you can get a win without those guys getting a point, that's not bad. Quentin Byfield also did not have a point. I also thought he was, though, extremely active. I thought defensively he was really strong, created several turnovers that led to offensive zone chances and shots on goal. So even though he did not get a point, I thought Q was strong in this one. Andrei Kopitar, not much from the captain. No points, no shots on goal. Really wasn't engaged too much, not suggesting he's not playing hard, but he just wasn't really noticeable much, except for the faceoff circle. He was really, really good in the faceoff circle. But, we talked about Fiala, we talked about Trevor Moore, we talked about Quentin Byfield having to get things going. Unfortunately for Kopitar, he's been the opposite of those guys. He started off amazing, and he's cooled off quite a bit. So needing to get more from the captain going forward for sure. Andrei Kuzmenko, 7 games and still no points as a member of the LA Kings after being picked up before the trade deadline. Under different circumstances, I think some fans would be complaining about that, but the Kings are 6-1 with him in the lineup. So far, so good. He did have a great scoring chance in the second period in this one. He had a one-time opportunity. It went off the post. He had so much open net. I'm not sure if maybe he just rushed a little bit, but I thought for sure he was going to score on that one. He also set up Adrian Kempe for a nice shot on goal. He got a pass from Andrei Kopitar in the crease, but he was kind of too close to do anything with it. Since Kuzmenko has joined the Kopitar line, Adrian Kempe has no points 5-on-5. He does have some power play goals, and Andrei Kopitar has 1 goal and 1 assist 5-on-5. So Kuzmenko hasn't had the effect, statistically at least, that we would have hoped. I don't know if Jim Hiller will consider trying Kuzmenko on a different line at some point, but I would say for now, no need to do it. Again, Kings are winning with him where he is. And so I think they're going to keep that lineup that we've seen now for 7 straight games probably intact going forward. Checking the team leaders in the win over Chicago, you had goals from Trevor Moore, Alex Turcotte, and Joel Edmondson. Vladislav Gavrikov and Jordan Spence had the only assists. The goals by Edmondson and Moore were both unassisted. Trevor Moore led the Kings with 5 shots on goal. Defenseman Joel Edmondson had 4. Sammy Holineus led the team in hits with 4. Mikey Anderson had 3 blocked shots to lead the team. Drew Doughty, of course, led the Kings in ice time, 24 minutes and 6 seconds. Andrei Kopitar won 10 of 13 faceoffs. Samuel Holineus won 5 of 6. All right, up next, we're going to give out our 3 stars of the game and update you on the latest Pacific Division standings. That is next here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 with extra dollars to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories to even who's cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. With tournament games happening almost every day, there is always something exciting to bet on. My bracket, it's looking great over here. Great on this side. The other side, not so much. UCLA, I saw advanced. Up next, they've got Tennessee. That's going to be a really tough game for the Bruins. They are 4.5-point underdogs in that one. And the over-under in that second round game for UCLA is 132.5 points. You got a feeling that the Bruins maybe are going to be a Cinderella. Get over to FanDuel. Use the app. It is simple to use. And when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, it is time to check in on our 3 stars of the game. And I thought it was a pretty clear choice for 3 stars, but there were a lot of different Kings players that certainly played solid games. Defensively, obviously, giving up only 1 goal. The defense was really strong in this one. But as far as my 3 stars of the game in the win over Chicago, number 3 star, I'm going to go with Alex Turcotte, getting that second goal of the game. My number 2 star, Darcy Kemper, allowing only the 1 goal. But the number 1 star for me is Trevor Moore, scoring that first goal of the game. And again, just thought the energy he provided, the way he looks, so much more confident. Great to see. Hopefully he can carry that going forward. But Trevor Moore is my number 1 star of the game in the win over Chicago. All right, let's get you updated on the Pacific Division standings. The Vegas Golden Knights were in action on Thursday, and they posted a 5-1 win over the Boston Bruins. They improved to 40, 20, and 8 on top in the Pacific Division with 88 points. They have 68 games remaining. They have a 3-point lead on second place, Edmonton. The Oilers lost to the Jets 4-3 in overtime, but they do pick up a point for the overtime win. That gives them 85 points on the season, a record of 40, 24, and 5. So they are 3 points behind Vegas for first place. And then the LA Kings getting 2 big points with their win over the Blackhawks, improving to 37, 21, and 9, 83 points for the LA Kings. So they're 2 points back of Edmonton. They do gain ground. They gain 1 point on the Oilers. And of course, still 2 games in hand on Edmonton. The Oilers have played 69 games, the Kings 67. 2 head-to-head meetings against the Oilers as well. 1 home, 1 road. Those head-to-head matchups are going to be absolutely huge going forward. So again, the Kings do gain some ground on the Oilers with that win over Chicago, and also some potentially huge news for the Oilers. Their captain, their star, Connor McDavid, suffering a lower body injury in the 3rd period against the Jets, did not return, didn't play in the overtime, and no early word on the severity of the injury. But again, Connor McDavid leaving the game hurt against the Jets for the Oilers. All right, so the Kings return home for the next 3 games. They are at home on Saturday. They're at home on, it is Saturday, sorry. They are home Saturday against the Carolina Hurricanes. And then Sunday, they play the next night as well against the Boston Bruins. And then next week, I think it's Tuesday, they play the New York Rangers. As for those opponents, Carolina is going to be a playoff team. Boston is not going to be a playoff team. And then the New York Rangers right now, too close to call. They are in the mix for a wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. So kind of a mixed bag as far as the opponents the Kings will be facing here in their next 3 games at home. The Kings have 15 games now left in the regular season. 11 of those games are on home ice, where, of course, the Kings have the best home ice winning percentage in the NHL, a record of 23-3-4. So hopefully that will translate into some wins, some points, and hopefully when it's all said and done, the Kings give themselves a solid chance to get home ice advantage in their first round playoff matchup. All right, for you everydayers, those of you that listen and watch Locked On LA Kings every day, coming up on Friday, of course, it is our Kings fan feedback show. React to anything going on with the LA Kings, anything we had talked about on the show this past week. It is your chance to sound off. If you want to send an email, the email address to the show is lockedoneddie@gmail.com, EDDIE. And if you're watching on YouTube, always love to have you post your comments in the comments section. If you want to stay interactive with the show on social media, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, we are at Locked On LA Kings. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thank you for listening and watching this episode of Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Have a great rest of your day. We will talk to you on Friday. And as always, go Kings, go.